Hey everyone, it's Sharon, the CEO and founder of the Jameson Group, and I hope that some of you can join me today. Hope everybody had a wonderful week, a week of enlightenment and a week of empowerment. And I'm really excited that about this week because I had a chance to speak and serve in three different areas this week. One in ministry, second one in a corporate setting, and of course the third one in my coaching programs today. And so I wanted just to stop in and offer some reflections about some of the challenges that I see that we all make in our relationships that really affect our relationships from sailing smoothly in a way that makes our hearts sing or in a way that makes us feel supported. So I hope you can join me. If not, I hope you can listen to the replay. And please feel free to share with others because I hope this message will really resonate with you. So what are the 6 questions that I think are important, critically important to help us live great lives and have good relationships? The first question, hey Kelly, hey all, is one of the first questions are if you are in a love relationship is to ask the person, how can I win at loving you? How can I win at loving you? And that is a critical question because sometimes we expect people to make us happy or to give us what we need and what we desire, what we want, but we never tell them what we need and we never tell them what it needs to look like. We have to think about when we consider our love relationships, we are a product of our conditioning, of our circumstances. We are a product of our culture. We are a product of our context. And as a result, we will feel, we experience, we will express love very differently. But one of the main questions we can ask someone is, how can I win at loving you? Hey, Jacqueline and Kathy, how can I win? And we need to draw a picture. We need to be vivid with our expressions and vivid with our explanations because people need to understand what you need, what it takes for you to feel seen, for you to feel known, and you to feel heard. So we cannot expect to say words like, oh, you don't love me, if we don't understand and can articulate what that needs to look like. We need to give people examples. One of the best gifts and one of the kindest things you can do for people is to give them clarity. Clarity helps us set people up for success. So the question is, how can I win at loving you? And what does that need to look like? And when we offer examples, when we offer stories, when we offer something from our past that can capture and characterize our sentiments, we set the person up to love us in a way that makes our heart sing. Remember, we cannot have high expectations if we don't give proper evaluations or examinations or our reflections. We cannot tell people what we need if we don't know ourselves. So that's the first question. The second question to help your relationships sail smoothly is for our friends. Hey, Yvonne, for our friends, what does sisterhood look like to you? What does sisterhood look like to you? Now, that's a critical question. Hey, Adam, so often this week, I don't care if it was in a business setting as well as in my coaching practice, I hear women say, oh, other women don't support me. Oh, she was not a good friend, or she wasn't there for me. But here's the question. Again, we all are a product of our environment, of our conditioning, and of our culture. And the question is, have you had a conversation to help people understand what sisterhood looks like to you? What does sisterhood look like for you? And have you given great examples of sisterhood? So many times we don't give people ideas of what sisterhood needs to look like, but then we want to hold them hostage to expectations that we have not expressed. We want to hold people accountable for giving something that we have never asked for. Remember, there's not one paradigm. There's not one definition of what sisterhood looks like. It's individual, it's unique, And if we cannot tell people and paint a good picture of how we desire them to show up, we cannot complain. So many times we attack people and say, oh, she's not a good friend, but we have not said, this is what friendship looks like for me. This is how I experience friendship. This is what I need from you. This is what makes my heart sing. This is how I feel connected. We have to be clear. Again, clarity is our friend, but clarity is caring because it sets people up for relationships. You can never have a good relationship based on expectations, because expectations says you should, or assumptions, I thought. Again, expectations say you should, or assumptions, I thought. Expectations and assumptions, all they do is breed resentment and bitterness, and they prevent us from getting the support not only that we want, but the support that we need. Remember, success, healing, help, love happens in community. I need you, you need me, and if we cannot engage in a way and provide some illumination and some explanations to people so that they can show up for us in a powerful way, we set the relationship up for failure. So that's the second question. The third question we need to ask is that, what does support look like? What does support look like? Because sometimes people think they are supporting you, but they're not, because people give you what they want. They don't give you what you need. For example, if they like chocolate ice cream, they want to give you chocolate ice cream. But what if you're allergic to chocolate ice cream and chocolate ice cream does not hit the mark? We have to tell people what support looks like. For example, when I get into any type of business or sisterhood relationship, I let them know this is what I need. I need a lot of grace. I need a lot of alone time. I'm not a person that likes a lot of company. I don't like to go out. I don't like to hang out. But I set people up to understand what I need to feel supported. And I also ask people, what do they need? What do they need from me to be a sister? What do they need for me to feel visible and valued and valuable? What do they need from me? And I'll let them know if I can do it or not. But we have to make sure that we have a clear picture of what support looks like, because just because we're saying the same words does not mean that those same words mean the same thing. And we want to make sure that we understand all those nuances, because language is wonderful, but language is limited. And so we want to make sure that we understand what that looks like. Hey, Tamika and Regina, the fourth question is so critical that we ask people is, what does respect look like? Again, respect is cultural. We always think that there's this ubiquitous definition of what respect looks like. Well, respect might look a certain way. It might be a definition, but how we experience respect feels different. How we express respect feels different. And what we want to do is to make sure that we give people something, respect or support, in a way that resonates to them. So often we think about, even in our work relationships, I hear people say, well, my boss does not respect me. And the question is, did you explain to them or her or him how that respect needs to be mirrored or modeled? Did you explain how that respect needs to be encased in behavior? How does that respect needs to be functioned or evidenced? We have to share that. We can't expect that people know, especially since no two individuals are the same. We are unique, which is wonderful, but that uniqueness requires us to take a leadership role in our lives and to set people up with a proper understanding of who we are and how we are wired. We all are wired differently, which means that we are going to experience and express support and respect differently based on how we are emotionally, spiritually, and socially wired. We have to understand that we are different, and our difference does not mean that we are deficient. It means that we are distinctive, and in that distinction, we need something that's different, and is only maneuvered or are fashioned for us? So we need to ask that question. The fourth question, hey Miranda and Nicole, the fourth question we have to ask, or the fifth question we have to ask each other when we have in friendships, our relationships, our partnerships, our mentorships, our fellowships, our discipleships, or whatever the ship you're on, is how do you experience apologies? Let me tell you, one of the challenges of relationships that make relationships go sour is the lack of forgiveness. However, we all experience forgiveness differently. That's why that book called The Five Love Languages is important, but also it's 5 languages of apologies, because we all hear apologies and experience apologies differently. Remember, apologies is something that we experience. We experience it in our souls. We experience in our heads. We experience in our hearts. And we want to hear it in a way that it resonates for us. For example, a person might feel with other people to say, Sharon, I'm sorry. That's enough for them, but that will not move me. For a person to apologize to me, I want them to know, 1, do they understand what they did? 2, do they understand the impact that it had on me? 3, do they understand the impact that it have on the relationship? And 4, what behavior change they're going to make? And 5, when can we revisit this conversation again? Anybody who's close enough to me knows you don't say I'm sorry and keep it moving, because that does not resonate with my heart. It does not speak to my soul. I want us to do a deep dive to understand what happened. And that's why I don't have relationships with people who are not courageous enough to tell me their truth, because I don't want to do the emotional work for both of us, right? So it's important to understand that we all experience apologies differently, and it's important to understand how a specific person understands and experiences and expresses forgiveness. The last thing, the 8th thing, hey, Christy, question that you have to ask to keep your ships sailing smoothly is, what's your vision? Now, the vision might be, what's the vision of this job? What's the vision of our relationship? What is the vision of this project? You want to make sure that there is a shared meaning of what good looks like, a shared meaning. So often, our relationships break up because I am saying one thing and somebody else says another thing, especially when we deal with supervisors. If your boss asks you to do a job and there's not a shared understanding of the entire essence of the job and what good looks like, you can turn in something and think it's great, and your boss will think it is subpar. It is critically important for us to have those conversations, hey Joe, to make sure there is a shared meaning. Remember, we want to have one vision of what good looks like, one vision of what this relationship looks like, one vision of what this project looks like. If there's not one vision, it's division, division. And even when there's division, that means success is not going to happen. Remember, how can 2 people walk together unless they agree? Meaning they have to agree on the vision. They have to agree on the type of relationship. They have to agree under the context of how something needs to be functioned or fashioned or maneuvered or managed. We got to be on one accord. If not, we set ourselves up for failure. And then when we set ourselves up for failure, we create these limiting beliefs about people and about our abilities and about the relationship. So many times we think we have one bad relationship and we think everybody else is the same way. But the challenge is we did not ask the question. We did not ask the right questions to ensure success. Hey, Petra. Hey, Sheila. So here are the 6 questions again that I want to encourage you to sit down with your primary ships. I don't care if it's a partnership. I don't care if it was a relationship, a companionship, a fellowship, discipleship, mentorship, whatever the ship that you're on. Ask these 6 critical questions to ensure that your ships can weather the storm. If not, you will find yourself being shipwrecked, over and over and over again, and you'll never allow yourself to have the connection and the closeness and the community that you need to live a fulfilling life. Remember, none of us does anything alone. We are not successful by ourselves. And the people who live the longest and who are the happiest have great friendships are ships. The first thing again, ask your partner, how can I win at loving you? Make sure you articulate and share with them what it means and how you need to feel visible, valued, and vital. Let them know up front. Don't get mad on the back end because a person is not giving you what you need when you have never told them what you need to feel loved. Again, how can I win at loving you? Tell them to draw you a picture, draw you a map, give you some ideas, tell them to give you some examples, make them clear, tell them to give you put it on a post-it note, something. Make sure you know in their language. Don't put your filter or your lens on another person's vision of how they experience relationship. One. Second question is for women, how does sisterhood look to you? How does sisterhood look to you? Women, we always are saying that somebody's not a good friend. But the question is, how have we told them what the friendship needs to look like so that our hearts sing? We need our sisters. Sistership is not only good for our soul, but sistership is a strategy. But you can't have a good strategy with a shaky foundation. And there's only a good foundation when there is a shared understanding of what sistership looks like. Three, the third thing you need to ask is, what does support look like? Draw a picture. Let people know support looks like to me A, B, and C. Spell it out. Make it clear. And don't give people 10 things on a list. People can't do all of that. Give them 3 things max to let them know how that they can support you so people can have success. Remember, people only have success when you give them targets that they can hit. People can't hit 10 bullseyes. They can hit 1 or 2 or 3. Give them 3 things so they understand what support looks like. 4, what does respect look like? Remember, one person's invitation is another person's violation. And we violate people and their boundaries and their needs and their desires because we have not been clear. Let them know what respect looks like. And respect means telling them what your boundaries are. Yeah? You have to make sure you do that. 5, what does an apology need to look like? Remember, don't tell somebody, I'm sorry, and that's enough. It's not enough. If I will encourage everyone to get that book, the five apology languages, and understand what your apology language is, and then go tell everybody who's close to you what you need to do, what they need to do for you to feel heard. Why? Because relationships are messy. Not because people are messy. They're messy because we're different. We are all under construction. We are all evolving. We're all doing our best. But even when we do our best, we're going to mess up. That's why knowing how to say I'm sorry is important. But we have to say I'm sorry in a way that the other person hears that we're sorry. And to say I'm sorry is not enough for some people, and that's okay. The 6th thing, what's your vision? What's your vision? I don't care if it's for a relationship, a job, a project. What's your vision? Are you looking at the same thing? Do you see the same thing? When there's no shared vision, there's no shared responsibility. And when there's no shared responsibility, there's no shared accountability. We need to make sure we're on the same page. We cannot be reading a different page in the same book and think we're going to be successful. What's the shared vision? Are we looking at the same thing from the same position, from the same way? Are we seeing the same thing? Are we seeing all the nuances? Are we seeing all the complexities? Are we seeing all the different layers? Are we seeing all the intricate details of relationships? We need a shared vision. If a person is close to you, I want you to hear me today. I feel like I'm in church. I want you to hear me today. And there's no shared vision. You set yourself up for frustration, for bitterness, for resentment. There's a shared vision. Baby, what do you see? If it's at work, what do you see? If it's a coworker, what do you see? Help me see what you see. And one of the most loving things you can do to a person is to tell them, you know what? I don't understand it. Help me see it through your eyes. Let me see respect through your eyes. Let me see love through your eyes. Let me see what it will take for you to feel supported. Baby, walk me down this lane so I can understand how I can show up for you in a way that you have never been showed up before. I don't know if that's good grammar, but you know what I'm saying. Those are the things I want you to think about. Write those 6 questions down and then have what I call courageous conversations with the significant people in your life, and let's have a meeting. So many times we don't have meetings. But let me tell you, if you don't come to the table, you will be on the menu. And every time something is on the menu, that means somebody's going to lose. Relationships are not win-lose, they are win-win. But we cannot win if we're not making each other feel valued, if we're not making each other feel visible, if we're not making other people feel validated, if we're not making people feel vital. People want to know that you care. And one of the highest ways to make people feel that you care, the greatest ways to honor someone is to ask them their opinion. Nobody feels more valued until you ask them their opinion. They know what they need to feel loved. Let them tell you. Let them share it. Let them share. Let them paint a picture. Because if we walk around in a spirit of arrogance, we will not have what we need. Remember, you know a lot, you know a lot, but you don't know everything. And you never know something about another person until you honor them, till you bless them, till you appreciate them, till you celebrate them by asking them their opinion. Yes? So ask the questions and let's dare to soar higher, because the best is yet to come. Thank you for joining me, Sheila and Alfred, Petra, and I don't have my glasses on, of course, you know that. But please share this video if you will. And then also remember, Dare to Be Me starts November the 3rd. I hope you would join me in Dare to Be Me. We are going to be having those critical conversations about love, about our stories, about good relationships, because some of us are in relationships just because people are available, but availability and suitability are not the same thing. And we want to make sure that we allow our purpose to pick our people. Our purpose needs to pick our people. And we talk about that in great detail in the Dare to Be Me. It starts November the 3rd. Please, if you're interested, sign up. Please, it's 4 sessions. We do it online together via Zoom. And I want to make sure that we have an opportunity to learn from each other, because we learn best in community. So hope you can join me. Dare to Be Me. I'll put the link in here, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you in a couple of weeks, right? So let's dare to soar higher. Thank you, Joshua and Alpha, for joining me, and let's dare to soar higher together as we love people and engage in relationships from a place of honor. Blessings.